So I guess, hey, we're ready to go. So here we go, folks. Welcome to Sunday Night Sessions. I'm Tracy Jameson, along with my co-host and good friend Val Smith. And we love these sessions. It's really a free-for-all for us. It's kind of our therapy session. We get to talk about a whole lot of things that are current and matter to most. We do like to have a disclaimer that does say that sometimes we're a little on the side of politically incorrect, because we like to really dig in and get deep to the heart of what really does matter. And so, Val, we had, as always, we have a really great conversation. We talked a little bit earlier today and about some really great stuff. We talk about our challenges as well as the challenges of others. And, they are very similar. We have to overcome a lot of things in our ability to grow and develop and be good leaders in this industry. And that's the same thing that happens with other people as they come into this industry and grow and develop. And as Val has always said, and I agree with him, that people shouldn't enter this industry unless they've got a documentation or at least some kind of university degree that states that they're ready and able to come into this industry, because there are a lot of things that people need to understand about the communication process. And a lot of it is about the communication that breaks down in communication and learning the dialogue and all that kind of stuff. So, being a professional, and I said I made my choice when I left the corporate industry in February of 2006, that I made the choice to become a professional network marketer. That meant a whole lot of things. It didn't mean just going around and playing around at it. It meant that I left my corporate career, that this was going to be my mainstream method of income. But it meant a lot more than that to me. It meant that I was taking my abilities as an educator and speaker and all those kind of things, that I really had the want and desire to assist people and help people to grow. And that really is the most important thing in this industry. And I think people forget about that you need to be able to develop and grow yourself, because you can't give away something that you don't have. And so the more that you develop and choose to develop those skills, then the paycheck definitely is the result of that. So Val, I'm going to throw the reins over to you, because we had some pretty deep conversation a little while ago, about several things. I just want to see where you're going to take it, because we kind of maneuver around topics and stuff. So I'm going to let you see where it goes. What's your thoughts today?
Well, first off, number one, you're on a pretty good roll this weekend. Every time you send me a piece of content via Skype, I put it up on my wall, and it creates all kinds of attention. So way to go, Trace. You got to get credit for that. She's kind of behind the scenes, and I take things she passes to me, put them on my wall, and all of a sudden it goes into, one of the pieces went into a pretty cool discussion on Facebook. So, or at least comment-wise, anyhow. But my big question is, what's wrong with that? You talked about the home-based business industry. You talked about you felt that your heart and soul was, disconnected from the corporate world, at least in conversations we've had. You felt your calling was something different. My question to the people is, what's so wrong with that? Why do we have to feel guilty? Why do people put us down? Why do they bash us? Why do they call us scammers and all that? Because we believe in free enterprise. What's so wrong with free enterprise? Take a look at historically what's happened from going back to history. You can go all the way back to 5,000 years ago and watch the evolutionary process of everything taking place. The only thing that's good, well, here, let me just add a little bit more to it before I tell you the only thing that's good. It's like anytime prosperity, anytime people can better themselves, anytime people can create wealth, create income, create more prosperity for their families, all of a sudden they're bad people. Why are people that use their brains evil, bad, scammers? Why is it that people that want to advance, give their kids a better life, their husband a better life, their wife a better life, why are they bad people? And that's the stereotypical thing out there. There must be something wrong with it if you've got money, or if you're making money, it must be a bad thing. But if you go to work and be somebody's bitch, that's acceptable. Right? That's acceptable. That's stereotypically, oh, you must be a very good person. Really? Why is that? And then, when you think about free enterprise and people put it down and call it scams and The governmental bodies obviously, have a big influence on brainwashing uneducated, ignorant people into using the word scam. But what happens when somebody wins a lottery, like a Powerball of $600 million down in the United States? That part's okay. You know why it's okay? Because the powers to be put the screws to the lottery ticket winner anyhow. You see, they get a big piece of that pie. I think down in the States, you win $600 million in Powerball. I think the government takes $400 million of it. So it's free money for them. But it's okay as long as they collect. But everything else is bad and evil, right? Because with Powerball, if you win $600 million, obviously you don't have tax deductions. And then the other option is they give you, we'll pay you out over 50 years or 20 years or 30 years. Most people are going to be dead, So where's the scam? Really, where is the scam? Why is truth a scam and lies and deception is real and it's acceptable? And the hierarchy powers and have been getting away with it for years. And then it kind of stimulates the intellects, the ones with college university degrees, not all of them, but the ones that still believe that, free enterprise. There must be something wrong with it because you're all making too much money. It's got to be bad. It's got to be a scam. I mean, that is just so evil. That is, in the world that I live in, that is just so evil to make such a claim as everything that generates, or most things that generate prosperity is a scam. And then you get the people on the internet, too, that run around, this person's a scam artist, this person's a crook, or this person's bad, and this. They don't even know what they're talking about. They just post something out there because people are successful, making money, live in big houses, drive nice cars, and everything is bad. So we talked about that, and we talked about, the post that you put up in the room earlier this morning in our Facebook group. Eric Worre's picture obviously is attached to that post, is his video there, and you brought up some really good points there, and I've always. I've always hoped that there would be some sort of transition, and we're not here to talk politics tonight, but I'm just saying, it's the game of life is like follow the leader. Unless, you broke through the veil, you don't always, some of us don't follow the leader. But the sheep follow the leader, and the sheep live in ignorance and fear, and, they've formatted themselves into a discipline, a dogma created by the hierarchical powers. So I'm hoping for the benefit of marketing here in North America, because I think marketing here in North America is very toxic. The culture here is very toxic, and I'm not here to be negative. This is not a negative bash. This is just the truth, right? Remember, like the thing that we put on the wall. People don't want to hear the truth, and if you tell people the truth, all of a sudden you're an asshole, right? So that's what we do here, Tracy. Is we tell the truth, we expose it, and if it's not necessarily truth, it will allow people to at least question the act. Or the canvas, the picture, what's on the canvas. People should question everything, and do some due diligence and do research. And I like what you were saying, that Trump appointed Betsy DeVos as Minister of Education, and people ask, who's Betsy, right? She's an American politician, a billionaire businesswoman, which is beautiful, a billionaire businesswoman. I can't even begin to tell you how wonderful that sounds, a philanthropist and an education activist. And so the interesting thing is you posted that she's married to Dick DeVos, of the, who's the son of Amway co-founder Rich. So all these things are important because as you take a look at what happened in the 60s, you talk about, Kennedy and all kinds of things that were going on and what's really going on behind the scenes and the way the world is run, the way the planet really operates. Not to get into conspiracy theories here, but, people just, they had to accept the way it was. Anyone that fought back, anyone that questioned anything, they were beat up, they were abused, they were violently, taken off to the side and violated. Kennedy had questions, Kennedy had information, and it probably cost him his life in November 20-something, I can't remember, of 1963. So, but society is changing. An evolutionary process is changing. Here we are, 53 years later from that. You talk about Martin Luther King. You can talk about all these activists that stand up and believe in something, and they always seem to get their teeth kicked in some which way, shape, or form. But now with the advancement of technology and the internet, it's not so easy to do that type of damage anymore. I think people are questioning the educational system. I think people are starting to question the curriculum. People are questioning the dogma, and that's even in religion, believe it or not. Of all things, it's even in religion. There's all kinds of things that are being questioned today. There's there's a dawning of a new era where people are coming out and starting not to just be little foot soldiers, to what I call psychological dictatorship. You talk about a person like Hitler. Hitler did it in a different way. He literally killed 20, 30 million people in his time. He used fear tactics to control people, and death and violence and abuse. But we do it daily here. The educational system does it daily here to us as well too. So it's really amazing to see how things have evolved, and I'm hoping, and it's just the way it is, because it'll change. Things will change in our favor, I think, over a period of time, because we can't control it. The innovative, the creative minds have come out. They've created computers, from computers to laptops, from laptops to iPhones. Things are evolving. There is a rebellious group of brilliant-minded, gifted people that have come to Schoolhouse Earth, as I call it, to utilize their gift and talent. They're not going to be held back. And you're looking at people like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and the great visionaries there. Warren Buffett, who's an older fellow who's capitalizing, on things that are happening today. He's changed his mindset. He didn't get caught up in being, in your 80s or being in your late 70s and following an outdated curriculum. So it's great to see things evolving, things are growing, people are asking questions. And I think it would be tougher in the 70s for us to be here and having these conversations as it is to 2016. It's great to see all of you here in the video chat. You've made a choice to be here. That choice wasn't taken away from you, where it might have been before, and it could be in other countries, like China and things like that. They're not allowed to tap into certain things on the internet. There's obvious restrictions. So anytime a person wants to grow, develop, enhance their life, enhance their skills, it always seems to be a bad thing. And what makes it even sadder for me is that, and I deal with it with my own family, for example, they just don't see the light. They see everything as kind of like, well, what are you doing? It mustn't be right if you got a Porsche, you got a Ferrari, you got this and that, So it disgusts me to see that in North America, people still question free enterprise. They still question being an entrepreneur, and they question independence. But if it's organized, systematically put together, and what I mean by that is for us, we're network marketers. We're on the internet. The internet is kind of a very interesting world. It's a world within itself. It's very transient. It's very free spirit. It's very renegade. It's very covert in ways. It's very independently strategic, right? It doesn't have a designed curriculum where it might be acceptable if you buy a McDonald's franchise, or if you buy a Starbucks, or a tea shop, because it comes with policies and procedures. It comes with governing control systems. You will pay X amount of dollars in royalties. You will follow our policies and procedures. If not, this franchise can be taken away from you. So do you see the fear? Do you see how the structure still exists in a lot of these dogmatic, buildings? Like even Sobeys here, Tracy. You got Save On Foods. You know what I'm talking about, Save On Foods. We have Sobeys here. I think you have out in West Sobeys, another big monster grocery chain. They've now gone independent in the sense that they sell it. You can now own a franchise, a Sobeys grocery store, but you're still governed by their rules, their policies and procedures of head office. So it's still that documented control, and they can pull your investment away, which could be a couple $1 million to a husband and wife that buys these. They mortgage the house. There always seems to be these bloody restrictions that it's like the puppeteers never want to cut the strings and let the puppet be free. You know what I mean? And this is why we challenge the establishment, because look, I'm looking at all you guys on video right now. We are free enterprise. You represent free enterprise more than free enterprise in a mom and pop shop. You are the renegades. You are the free spirits out there doing it, and you're gathering data and information in order to get you to where it is you want to go that's acceptable for your life, for your journey. So I'm excited about the future. I wish it would move faster. I wish, and this is why I love things like Mentoring Millionaires or anything else that might be like this, is because we're promoting free enterprise. We're promoting independence. We're promoting, not to enable a situation. We're promoting people to step forward and grow and learn and not allow themselves just to remain in a fishbowl in following, necessarily the footsteps of others. We don't have to follow anybody's footsteps, but we can walk beside them. I'm not following anyone's footsteps in this industry, but I'll walk beside you. But I'll never walk behind you. I will never kiss any of your butts. Sorry about that. And that's just the way I feel about the online world, is that the online world has to evolve and grow. And that's why you've got to be particular as to what it is you subscribe to, what you allow into your mind, the types of teaching and training, because these same dictators of the past are on the internet here right now too, now and will be in the future. So that's why it's important to become intelligent, so you can sift yourself through this and weed out what's good, bad, and what's ugly, and find something that works for you. I keep going to Steph because Steph's had some success here, and Steph knows a lot of people, and I could go to some of you, but I don't know who you all followed. But because my relationship with Steph, I could say, Steph, are you still following the same people you followed in 2007 necessarily? Are you still with DK today? And what's your answer to that, Steph? Go ahead.
No, I mean, do I follow the same philosophy? Yeah, I believe if I were to have a conversation with him, he probably has a lot of the same philosophies, but business has changed between us two. So no, I mean, he's not someone I continue to follow.
Right.
I still do subscribe to a lot of the people's mindsets and philosophies and ways of business that I did when I first got started, because they are in alignment with where I'm going. So. Right.
And so my whole point in asking Steph that question is, what Steph's doing is she's evolved, she's grown. I did this. I used to worship. There used to be a lot of gods out there for me. And then I realized that they're not gods anymore. The people that I looked up to in this industry, I respect them, and I like their body of work, but would I follow them? No. It's not who I am. I'm not a follower. Steph's not a follower anymore. We all want to march to it. When you get to this point of knowledge and information and you develop a skill set, you don't need to hold hands anymore. I mean, you feel like you've got the skill set, the knowledge, but you still want to grow, you still want to develop. There's still lots of things to learn, but you know that you're going to be safe. You know that you're going to be okay if those false idols of false support structures are removed from the equation. Like many of you are here right now, and what you see right now is a sense of leadership, but there might be a point real soon, 6 months, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, where you might not necessarily have to be here or want to be here. You might be walking and singing your own tune. You might be leading your own pack. And it's just like the wild kingdom, eventually the cub has to grow up and go out into the wilderness and create its own identity, its own place in the world of life, the circle of life, and go out and procreate. And that can happen here too. And I broke away from a pack that I was with and went out and became a leader and built massive organizations based on believing in myself. So when you believe in yourself, sometimes you outgrow people. And I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship, I think it's safe to say we might have all had a boyfriend or girlfriend at one time in our lives, and maybe your spouse or significant other wasn't your first boyfriend back in grade 7 or 6 or 12 or 13, or wasn't the person you went to the prom with. But sometimes you outgrow people. You will outgrow people in your life. They're there for a time and place, and then you outgrow it. And so where we're at, when I think for some of us that feel the same way I do, we outgrow the dogma of this industry and we march to our own tune. And when you do that, know this, it's not going to be handed to you on a silver platter. You're going to be dealing with what I call spiritual warfare. You're going to be dealing with parasites, and that's just part of it. If you want to talk religion, look at the warfare Jesus had to deal with. If you want to talk, I'm not here to speak religion because I'm not a religious person, but I'm a spiritual person. But if all that was true, what happened back in the biblical times, that was some pretty heavy duty spiritual warfare. That kind of got you nailed to a cross. Well, anytime you challenge the establishment and break away from the bullshit of man-made structural whatever, you're going to pay a price. And you can pay that price with your husband and wife too. If you don't conform to your husband, he might not like you too much. He might abuse you. If you don't like, your wife could do the same thing too. Life just seems to be like that. It just seems that if entities and beings can't control you, all of a sudden you got to deal with a lot of grief. But this is what builds your character. This is what makes you strong. And to be a great leader, a great entrepreneur, you're able to handle that stuff. I still don't understand why we need passports today. When I take a look at the world on Google, if I take a look at a live feed of our planet from outer space, just on a live camera, I sit there and I say to Benita, my wife, I say, come here for a second. And she goes, what is it you want? I said, take a look at this. And she says, oh, that's a really nice picture. I said, no, take a look at this. She hasn't figured out what I'm saying. I said, take a look at this. Where's the borders? What divides the U.S. and Canada? We're all on the same piece. I don't see the border. Can you show me these digital borders that separate us as human beings? Where's the imaginary man-made created borders that separate countries and continents? And so my whole point being is that's why I'm a little bit weird, because I don't see the world the way the world sees itself, or the way people have been designed. I'm always sitting there looking at it. I say, I can go to the border of the United States here, and you know what? I can take my leg and I can step over one blade of grass, and I'm in the United States. And I look down and there's no spray paint that says this is the United States. It's in the middle of a cornfield. Or if you go to where Tracy is in White Rock and just take a boat, one little white cap is on the U.S. side and another white cap's on the Canadian side. Where the hell's the border? What separates us? I don't see the borders. I'm trying to figure it out, So am I stupid or am I stupid? And so the whole point is I question things, and so should you. If you want to be a great leader, question things. Think outside the box. Look outside the box. It'll give you more to work with. And you won't always be, feeling good about what you see, but it's good to have this knowledge, because when you talk to people, then, you can be a little bit more intelligent in that conversation about whatever. So Tracy, that's kind of where I was kind of running with a little bit there. You posted all that stuff and got back to it. I think it's really important.
Well, it is. And, you said so many things that just really triggered a lot of my thought process, because, the internet there is a big shake-up coming up. And it's been in process, I think, for a while through the last few years. I think people are challenging, people are questioning. And the biggest thing on the internet, it's a great information tool, it's a great communication tool, but there's two things about the internet. You can either believe everything on the internet, or you can question everything on the internet. And I challenge people to question everything on the internet, because you can see, somebody can put up a website. We saw this happen over the last few months dramatically with the media and everything, right? What do you believe? And so challenge everything, question everything, and then do your own research. And I think that's what we talked about with regards to even this industry about, there's, false prophets. I didn't want to use that word, but, there's some false gurus out there, and they're giving you all the wrong information. But, I'm an investigator. I'm an analyst, and I like to go in and take a look at something and challenge myself to see whether that's real or not. Do I truly believe that? Trust your gut. People have been given a great intellect and a great, intuition. And a lot of times we don't trust our intuitions about things. And that's the mark of a great entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs act on a lot of on their intuitions, and they act fairly quickly on their intuitions, because they know what's right and what's not right. And I think that as you grow this industry, and Val, you and I talked about this earlier today about becoming a professional network marketer, because there is nothing in between. Either you're playing around at it or you're a professional. If you're a professional, you're there to make money. You're there to run it as a business. You're there to develop leadership. There is nothing in between. If you're not a professional, right, then you're there to just play around at it. You might throw $20 here, you might throw $100 there. And that's what people do, is they just throw their money at things. They don't treat it, but they don't know what to do. And I think that a lot of times that the confidence, and we talked about this too, the confidence of people is really fragile, because, you know, friends and family, forget friends and family. They're the first people who are going to rip you up and spit you out, because they already know. Steph's laughing, because you know what? I was in the grocery industry for 31 years. Yeah, I was in a management position. I mean, you know, I was in charge of $1 million a week organization, big organization, a lot of things. But you know what? My family saw me as nothing more than doing what I did. And even my mom said to me, why don't you go back to doing what you're good at? What am I good at, Mom? No clue, right? She had no clue. Your family does not see you as who you aspire to be. They see you as who you have grown up at. They see nothing more. I was always the entrepreneur. I was always the person that never fit in. And so those kind of people, it's okay. You outgrow people in those relationships for a reason. People grow at a different rate. And that's sometimes why relationships break down, marriages, boyfriend, girlfriend, all that kind of things, is because one person will grow. They will develop. They'll have a greater spiritual connection, or a greater educational direction, or they have a very specific entrepreneurial direction, and the other person may be quite content to be where they want to be. And so the visuals don't connect anymore. People, they don't understand each other anymore. One will question the other, and it's because their whole viewpoint of their scenarios are so very different. This person's going that way, or maybe not anywhere at all, and that person is moving. And I have come in and out of relationships and friendships over the years, and it's okay. There are people that I love them to this day. I just can't be around them anymore, and you just let them go with love, and you know, allow them to grow at their own rate. You can't drag people until they're ready. As they say, you know, the teacher will arrive when the student is ready, and you can't force people into that kind of a scenario. You know, so I think the biggest challenge, and this is where I was getting to at the very beginning, was I think the biggest challenge for people, like there's several challenges in our profession, in our, hang on, somebody came in, Dean. There, okay, thanks. You know, I think one of the biggest challenges in our industry is that confidence, because people, you know, like I said, the friends and the family, people will question them. What are you doing? You're doing another one of them scam things, like you say, right? And so they have to be so very sure about what they're doing, because it is a profession. And that's what people don't understand. The people that beat people down about our profession don't see it as a profession. However, it is probably the biggest growing section of what we see in, especially the United States. And those statistics, Val, that Eric Worre posted, and I posted them on my wall today, that it's a $184 billion industry globally, and it grew and the United States is the #1 market, and it grew 11% in the last year. And why is that? It's because people are scared, because there is no security. The only security you have is looking after your own future. If you think someone is going to look after you, it ain't going to happen. And I found that one out the hard way. You know, what was I told growing up? Get a good education. I had a great education. I had a really great paying job. I had lots of time off in a management position. And I'm telling you, they walked in one day and they eliminated my position, gave me a $10,000 a year pay cut, and they didn't know what to do with me. So if you think that your job and your life is secure, you got another thing coming. And the sooner you realize that and take responsibility and choose your future, and not let someone else choose your future, is when you're going to have some freedom. Because if you're working under somebody else's guidelines and somebody else's rules, it's never going to happen to you. And yeah, it's a scary thing to be able to, like, you know, I don't recommend anybody just step out of their job and leave. I reached saturation. You know what? You have to have a contingency plan. We always talk about that in business. Have a contingency plan, your plan B. You know, you work at this so that you can work at that, so that you work at this enough that you end up having it take over that, and then you've got a new lifestyle, whatever the case is. You know what? I'm just one of those kind of people. I just said, I'm done. And I said I was totally done. But you know what? I had the belief, I made the decision, and I chose to become a professional in this industry. And it is a profession. And when you decide that you're going to become a professional in this industry as your profession, your life will change. And you know what? You've got all the best people around you. You've got the best training, the coaching. Just open up your heart, open up your mind, and learn everything you can, and your life will change.
You brought up a really good phrase there. We allow people to make our choices for us. I don't know about the we here in this particular room right now, but you said to allow people to choose your path for you, to choose the way your life's going to be for you. And that's part of the stigma, son, daughter, go to school, get a great education, go to university and college, and become something, and then get a label put on you that this is what you are. And when I was back in Colorado, I remember I was living in a really beautiful community up in the mountains, almost 8,000 feet up in the mountains in a cul-de-sac. And I remember a doctor who was next door. It's a round cul-de-sac, and there's a doctor next door. He was one of the top, I think, I'm not sure, what do you call him? I don't think he's an optometrician or whatever, if that's wrong, but there's something a little bit more advanced than that. Ophthalmologist. Anyhow, he and I got talking. We sat and we had a beer one night, and his house was probably about 3.4 million, 3.7 million, somewhere in and about there, and he was making great money as a doctor. But it's amazing, as you kind of, like, even guys need this too. I know girls say they need, ladies need, girlfriends for the nurturing effect. Guys need it too. Guys need to shoot the breeze and shed a few tears every now and then, and be buddies too. And we had a few beers, and we're just kind of sitting there talking, and I was like pretty much a stranger to him, but I was there and living right beside him for a little while. And we got talking, and he just told me the truth. He said, and I feel safe saying this because this was like 15 years ago, and he's not here. I'm not going to mention any names. But he told me he hated his life. He was one of the best doctors at what he did. He was making probably $2 million a year what he was doing. He hated his profession. He hated his life. He hated his wife. And that's not to put an emphasis on that. And he hated his parents because his parents made him go to school. His dad was a doctor too, so he kind of was pressured in to following suit into that path. But, he said, the reason why I'm still where I'm at, he said, it's fear-based. I don't want to disappoint my parents. His parents are still alive. He had a kind of a high maintenance wife, and that's okay. I dig it. This is not a knock at women. He was just telling me his feelings as he opened up with alcohol. And he said, I'd love to get rid of it all tomorrow. Get rid of the Bentley, get rid of the Jag, get rid of my wife, get rid of the house. He says, I'd just like to go to Boulder, which was not too far away, Boulder, Colorado. And he just wanted to be an artist and play guitar. That's what his dream was. Would you believe that? Like, to just paint pictures in the mountains and play guitar and, just kind of be transient. He loved that lifestyle. And so the big question is, do you love what you're doing? Are you in your dream scenario right now? What's holding you back? If anything's holding you back, are there things are there anchors in your life that are holding you back? Are decisions being made for you? And I'm not telling you to get rid of people in your life tonight or anything like that, or go move into a hostel or something. But we just to reevaluate and reassess and to define your own truth. What is your truth for you? And he was telling me that under the influence of alcohol, because there's something about alcohol that allows people just to get rid of their inhibitions and just talk. And I'm sure he's not the only one that feels the same way about being captured in an environment that he doesn't want to be captured in. He just hasn't worked it out yet with the decisions that he has to make to create an honest environment for his wife, number one. Maybe sit down, talk to his parents, number two. And I don't know where he is today, but that was a conversation that took place in 2001, sitting on top of a cliff in the mountains. We were just kind of sitting there and just cracking open a few cans and talking. And I wonder how many people feel that they're controlled. Even free enterprise, are you controlled by your upline? Are you controlled by certain elements of this industry? Are you controlled even by us? Like, what are your breakthroughs that make you, what are the breakthroughs that you feel you need to crash through in order to get to where it is you want to go? And, fear is very paralyzing in this industry. It can give you so much freedom, but at the same time, it can also create a grand illusion of fear as well. Stepping out and taking the risk, taking the challenge, picking up the phone, talking to people, putting out that first video, whatever it is. So what are the elements that control you and hold you back from that quiet time What would happen if I sat down and had a drink with you? What would happen if we all kind of went down to the Mayan Riviera together, or we went to Atlantis together in the Bahamas, and we sat around at a table and we were there for 5-6 hours having a few cocktails? What would your story be? How would it be so different than it would be now when you're not under the influence of the lie detector? You know what I mean? Because a lot of us lie to ourselves. And it's amazing, some people say alcohol is a bad thing. Alcohol can be a bad thing, but it can also be a good thing when you loosen up, relax, and just chill out and talk the truth. And feel comfortable opening up about who you are, what you're all about, what your biggest dreams are. And most people, when they're not under the influence, or when they're stuck in the regular mode that they're living in today, they don't like to talk about themselves. It seems to be a very painful thing to talk about your experience, talk about yourself, talk about your life. If you ask people to do it, just watch their body language. They'll put their heads down, they'll swallow, they'll cough. There's all kinds of stimulation that goes on in the body, and it makes people feel uncomfortable. So all these things are really, really important, and we all have to. One second, we all have to go through this. We all have to go through our own personal lie detector test, and I think that's one of the most therapeutic things that will allow you, give yourself permission to move forward. It's very easy for me to come in here and say, give yourself permission to move forward, but intellectually, and if you ever go to my wall on Facebook, there's a little thing I posted there tonight. Let me just see the exact wording that I used, if I may, just for 1 second here. I think I said something about a post that I created, and I just want to put an emphasis on what I meant when I posted it. If you just give me a quick second here. That's that one. Oh yeah. So I said, do you feel this short video is an intellectual exposure? Like, do you feel this? Do you feel it, or is it just an intellectual stimulant? And that's the difference. Like, some people say, oh, did you hear that song? Yeah, I heard the song. So somebody might have heard the song, and then somebody else might have heard the song and started crying, or felt emotional about a particular song, whereas another person didn't. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. When you feel it, do you feel it? And as you get older in life, I'm starting to feel a whole lot more in my life that causes me to feel tear jerky every now and then about certain segments of my life and other people's lives where, we're growing older. And when you're young, all you know is being young. And when you look at old people, you don't really show them a lot of empathy or even think about them. But they too were young at one time, and I'm really starting to feel that now. I knew that intellectually, but now I feel it today in understanding my grandparents, or understanding my mom. When my mom was in her 40s, she used to say, she wished she could be young again. And I heard it, but I didn't understand it because I was young, right? So until you start gaining wisdom and knowledge and experience and realize that you're going through those same type of stepping stones and those same chapters they went through. I remember we were just sitting there upstairs in our loft. We have a loft upstairs in the house, and Maya was dancing. My daughter Maya was dancing for Benita and I. And I took a look over at Benita, and I just wanted to look at my wife and just see what she was thinking. And she looked at Maya, and she was watching Maya dance, and because Benita used to do that too. She used to dance, and she's a very good dancer and stuff like that. But at 53 and the lifestyle that we kind of have now, or she has now in her own personal life, she doesn't do that physical activity like she probably should, or I could say I could probably do that too. My whole point being is the words that came out of Benita's mouth, couldn't even speak there, sorry. She said, if only she could be young again. She said, if only I was that young again. And I just sat there and I stood there. She didn't even know I heard her say that, and Maya was probably oblivious to it because she was dancing and doing all this high energy stuff, So I kind of saw that, and I kind of felt a little bit there, for my wife, because she was kind of reflecting, looking back, and knowing that once upon a time ago, she lived out that chapter in her life. So I'm really sensitive to these things, and that's what I'm saying. So when you're in tune with these things and you're sensitive to these things, that's the feel. You know what I mean? Internalize, manifest, assimilate, feel. And when you can do that, you can become super successful, because then you really understand people. It's not lip service. It's not a fair weather situation. It's real. And I think people want us to feel what it is they're saying. They just don't want to be heard. They want to feel it. And that can happen in everything, whether it be in a church, whether it be political, or, a husband and wife talking. Yeah. No, I heard you. There's a big difference than, no, I really understand what you're saying, and I do apologize. If I made you feel that way, I do apologize. I really understand what you're saying. Those are two different forms of communication as opposed to, yeah, I heard you, right? So it's the same thing in marketing. When you feel people, that's what you say. Hey, man, do you feel me? All that stuff is so important to be able to feel another person. And when you're able to do that, and that's a gift to have, especially in marketing. That's a part of marketing, believe it or not. When you feel other people, then you can make a change. Sorry, Tracy, go ahead. You're going to say something.
Oh, you're on a roll, man. We get going like this on a regular phone call. A lot of times we get deep into topic. You said two things that actually one thing that I was going to bring up. You just said it right now, and there's two components to listening. Most people only listen waiting for their opportunity to reply. But when you can actually hear what people are saying, that's the difference.
Yeah.
Because the hearing part is the comprehension of what that person, what you just said, the emotion and the feeling about what they're getting at. But most people just listen and listen and listen and just waiting for you to stop talking so that they can have their turn to talk. But when you do take that time to really listen, and this is the golden nugget in network marketing, because when you can hear and understand where people are coming from and understand what their challenges are, you're not just there to throw information at them and beat them over the head and where are your sales and how come you didn't show up. There's a component to people. What we were taught in the grocery industry is, that person comes for the checkout and they're irate, they're angry, they don't, and the poor cashier is there trying to sort of absorb what this person being nasty to them. The part that we don't understand is that poor woman has, children, one's sick, they drove into the parking lot, they got cut off getting into a parking space, somebody let their buggy go, the buggy ran into their car. So all of those things that worked up, and this is person's life, this pertains to our industry, to our profession, is we have to understand where people are coming from. How can we assist someone when we haven't taken the time to understand who they are? So you can't take a canned goods and hand it to someone that is not that it doesn't pertain to. So we have to understand where these people are coming from. What do you need from us? And that's why you and I, Val, we always say, listen, we're here as the tools. Our company is here to assist you. Your input is so very important to us for understand what you need from us. We're not here to dictate. And the other part of that, to what you were talking about earlier, what you were talking about the borders, when you were talking about the world and the borders and the countries and that kind of stuff. Borders are man-made. We can't see them, but we know they're there. And guess what? That's the same type of limitation that we put on ourselves too, on our mind, because our mind takes those borders and fears and creates a component that stops us from stepping over it. And so if we can eliminate that in our mind, and we can assist people in being able to do that and push them up, encourage them, pull them forward and get behind them. That's something that this industry, a lot of people don't understand about it. It's about giving someone the opportunity, seeing the potential and getting behind them, not in front of them, but behind them. And that's the difference. That's going to make a difference in your business, because the income is the result of what you do to give someone the confidence to be able to stand up and be proud of what they do. And that's what our company is all about.
And, just imagine this. So based on what we just were talking about there, we talked about feeling other people, understanding who they are, understanding what they're all about. What is their day going like, where are they at in their space, but yet some son of a gun teaches us, I was going to use another word, but I won't for the sake that we're being recorded here. Hey man, here's my link. Excuse me? Hey man, here's my link. Check it out. What does that mean? Terrence, can you just hit the mute switch, brother? Appreciate it. What does that mean? How can somebody promote a business opportunity like, hey man, here's my link, when you don't know who I am. You know nothing about me, but there's something about your link that's supposed to be so magical that it's going to take my pain away. It's going to change the cellular structure of my mindset and where I'm at and the things that are important to me. And, you know, this is where all the teachings of those people on the internet go wrong. This is where automation goes wrong. You don't know who I am. You don't know what I think. You don't know my values. You don't know my morals. You don't know my ethics. You don't know my interests. So why am I supposed to, you know, sign up in your lipstick when I'm not? I don't use lipstick. I'm not a trans testicle. You know, whatever it is. So my point being is, like, you know, find out. This is why it's so important to build a relationship. And so the whole point being is, guys, if you're in a business opportunity, does it not make sense? Does it not make sense to have a mediator in between? Sometimes when you got two parties, it's like two parties are talking over each other. A person's trying to pitch you on their health and nutritional company. You're not interested in the health and nutritional company, but they're pitching on the health and nutritional company, like whatever it is. There's no mediator in between. And it creates anger and resentment and stuff between two parties sometimes in the online world. And that's why I think models and implementing a methodology like we're doing right now is paramount, because you've got person A and person B. Person A's pitching person B. Person B doesn't want to hear about it. But if you bring a mediator in, an island in the middle, which is a generic educational platform that can be a support mechanism, a structure, a sanctuary where there's really no pitch, but it's just a place to relax, build a relationship with a person based on who they are, what they're all about, where there's no threat, there's no pitches. Like, nobody's pitching here. We just created a safe haven, a support structure, a culture, an environment where people can come and listen, and they don't have to do anything else if they don't want to, or if they want to do things, and they can do that, right? You know, so we're not forcing people to make decisions here. We're saying, here's data and information that you can utilize. And oh, by the way, you might meet some people here along the way. But to start bombing people with an opportunity when you don't have a relationship with them, don't know what's going on in their mindset, don't know what they're thinking, don't even know if they have an interest in there, and then calling them stupid because they didn't check out your link, that's wrong, you know? So, you know, we've seen that happen so many times. I've seen it. Even Valerie here, who's on this call tonight, she'll say, hey, Val, I got a lead. And then I'll ask her the information on the lead. And then she'll send me some information back. And I'll say, you know what? That son of a gun tried to reverse market you. They really don't care about what she might be offering that will enhance the better their lives. They don't investigate it. But then they'll say, well, oh, Valerie, I'm sorry you couldn't reach me on your terms. But now that you wasted all your time trying to reach me, I can be available, but I want to tell you about something I just got exposed to. See how it's just so disingenuous. There's nothing there. And this is the snaky stuff of marketing that shouldn't exist. There's just no room for it anymore. And this is why I love what we do, or any other company that's modeling this type of stuff, or if we're modeling them or whatever. This is great stuff. All right? This is great stuff. This is real. Hey, you know what? Does anyone have any comments on this? Anything that we're saying here? Anyone want to share their insights and experiences on anything we're talking about? I just don't want to go off and dominate and control this thing as I usually do sometimes. Anyone have any hearsay? Lorraine, to have you on this call and not hear you say one word, that would be historical. So I think really you might want to pop in here and just kind of give us your insights. I mean, you're an unbelievable powerhouse of a woman. You're in beautiful Florida. I think you're still in Florida. What are your thoughts about all this stuff? Do you the puppet masters out there controlling people's lives and stuff without doing one of your above average rant sessions? You got a couple words you want to share, like just in your experiences? Feel free. Are you Mike, Lorraine? I want to see if Lorraine's Mike.
Yeah, I'm Mike.
This is Lorraine out of Florida. She is dynamic. She's a powerhouse. And Tracy and I love this lady so much. when she kind of came into our lives a couple of years ago. Lorraine is no nonsense. I just have to have this disclaimer. You never know what Lorraine's going to do. She's a powerhouse. She's unbelievable. She's got an incredible God-given gift and talent, and you just never know what's going to come out of her sometimes. So just put your seatbelt. I think she's going to be cool because we primed it tonight. But if we just let her go, if we just open the cage and let her go, you'll all just sit there and think like, wow, what you thought? You think a tsunami just came through your town. So Lorraine, really, what are your thoughts? You've been in the game for a while. You've been around, all of this stuff. You've been around the good, the bad, the ugly. You've seen it all. Like, I mean, what are your thoughts about all the BS and what are the things that you think that need to be said and heard, and what's your truth coming out of beautiful somewhere in Florida?
Well, first of all, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be among this elite group. And yes, I am totally in agreement with everything that is being said as I popped in. Yes, there is some fear of people. Well, let me pull my head down. Let me be real. I have been encountering some stuff as I was speaking with Tracy earlier today. And one of the things that I'm going to be real with, I am so tired of the BS. I am so to my wits' end where, yes, I am in the arena where I want to see other people win. And yes, I will win by default. But at the same time, people have so much fear when they are trying to get to the other level. And I think the whole moral is honesty with integrity. That's how I look at it. You have to have that honesty with integrity, because if you don't have the honesty and integrity, then what are you settling for? And that's just the bottom line. And I'm going to say this, it's time to come from among the BS and run with your runners. Run with the people that really cares about you. Encamp yourself around the people who are going forward. Run with the trailblazers, because if you don't put yourself within that arena of those people, then tell me, what are you really settling for? I have came to a point in my life, and as I was talking to Tracy about today, I'm so done with it. I am looking for something that not just going to give me what I want. I want to be in the arena where I'm not in competition with anyone. I'm here to build, lift, and push forward and excel people to where they want to be. Because at the end of the day, I have a conscience and I know I'm going to win by default. So to say that is to say this, you just got to be careful of who you actually are partnering up with, and you got to really understand this arena. Some of it is a game. For me, been there, done that. I'm so done with the fluff. I just want to be in a better place right now. And Val, I'm going to be real with you. I think you guys are the it for me right now. This is my arena. I am done trying to help other people, and people sugarcoat the stuff. They're not being true to self. They're not being true to you, who is the upline or the downline, or whichever way you want to put it. But the system that you guys have actually instilled and implanted here, I think it's a win-win situation in every which way around. Just people have to understand that you got to work. You got to put in the work. Nobody's going to give you anything. And if you understand that you have to work and you're going to have to put in a little bit more than a job, just over broke, then yes, you're on your way. That's all I have to say, Val.
That's really cool. Great to see you, by the way. Haven't talked to you in a few months. It's great to see you, and thank you for coming on here. And everybody goes through transition, and that's why Lorraine's on here tonight. Lorraine's always been one of us, but she's had some things going on in her life where she wasn't able to make that full-fledged connection. But I think she's at a point now where she wants to be a part of something that is solid, something that's non-threatening, and something that has no threat of going away. We have no threat of going away. We don't have to. Our website's going to be up on the internet forever, and our products are digital, they're recorded, so we don't have to go anywhere. But it's really cool just watching people's journey. Lorraine's made great money in multi-level marketing. She's from a multi-level marketing background. She hasn't done the affiliate stuff like some of you have, but you let her loose in the affiliate, God only knows what she'll do. But she's had some massive paychecks. And her experience was in the travel industry, and she's had some massive paychecks, and she's a sharp, knowledgeable lady on, get into a travel conversation, look out. I mean, you know, so it's just great to see the transition of people coming back, and I think there's a lot of people out there that are going to get pulled into this over the next 12 months, because there's a lot of people that are tired like Lorraine, and they just want to be around a great group of people. They're looking for a truth. And if we are the truth, that's great. And if we're not the truth, that's great too. At least we cause people to ask questions and use this as a stepping stone to get to where it is they want to go. So I'm really stoked, pumped. I'm excited about the people that are being attracted to us now as word's getting out. More solid people. We do have a lot of people here, believe it or not. There's more people here than you'd know, than you see here right now. But their agenda, their priorities are different in the way they market. You know, they'll operate differently. But it's going to be great to see as this community grows and more people coming, videos here, and then we'll see, you know, several thousand people on some sort of platform of some kind, and look forward to doing a live event as well too. Lorraine, I think you'd like that too, because that consists of traveling. It won't be in the United States. Tracy, anything you want to say while Lorraine was there and we let her come on? And she was very elegant and very tasteful tonight. She was just a real class act.
Yeah, you know what, Val? It just goes to show you, and Lorraine is another person who proves the point, as everyone else here does, is that it is a community of like-minded people. And this is the creme de la creme, as you will see, is I always say in a lot of scenarios is the chaff will always blow away, and the real substance really rises to the top. And these are the people here, and you know what'll happen is it's a community of energy, and energy perpetuates, I can't speak, perpetuates energy, and those people will draw in the right people, and that force grows and develops and becomes a force to be reckoned with. And you know, it always starts with a handful of people to set the pace, and as Lorraine said, run with the runners, and that's what we're doing. And Lorraine, it's great to have you back in the fold here, and had a wonderful chat with you this morning as usual. And a happy belated birthday to you too. So you know what, we've got some really great people here. We're gonna do what we're gonna do. And something else that surfaced earlier this week, Val, and it was, I think it was Dwight perhaps that posted one of your old Mentors in Motion's audios. It was fabulous. And you know what was really fabulous about it? I wish I'd known you back then, but I know you now, so it's awesome. But that audio speaks precisely the same as you do today. It hasn't changed one iota. And that's why you and I that's why you and I gelled, because we have the same beliefs, the same ideologies, and that's why this was born in this group and develops, because we are a similar mindset, same mindset, and we're gonna change things. We're going to be a group of people that really changes the industry, and I'm proud of all the people that are here now, because you're going to be the champions of change. And you know, so we've got a really strong group, lock arms, and we're going to go and do some really fabulous stuff. So on that note, we've reached the top of the hour here. Always a pleasure, always so much fun. Val, as usually, we always say these are our therapy sessions. We get a lot about what we think about and talk about all week, and we get a chance to throw it out there. And if you got any closing comments before we close out the call?
Well, happy birthday to Lorraine. I wasn't aware of that, so Tracy brought that up. Happy birthday, Lorraine. Congratulations in beautiful Florida. Dwight, thank you so much for the precious gift from 2004. Posting that up there. If you've got any other smashing hits from the early 2000s, latest, greatest, what was that guy? Dick Clark's famous top 40 MIM audios from the past. It'd be great to hear them up there in the back office again. I know Carl Payne has a great collection of those too. He says, man, we should just sell those. But hey, listen, love you all in spirit. Thank you so much for taking the time to get on here tonight on the Sunday night supporting the call. Ralph Miller was there back in the early 2000s too. Can't forget our chief designated leader, Ralph Miller there. He might be quiet, but he's still our leader. We love him that way. And, to all of you, thank you so much for taking a risk. Honestly, you took a risk. You came, you heard a message. You didn't know us from Adam, didn't know us from Steve, didn't know us from Eve, anybody. And, you guys are here. You gals are here. It's wonderful to have you in our lives and see where it goes. Listen, we just want to be a stepping stone in your life. It's going to be your journey. No matter what it is you do in the game of life, it's your journey. And if we have something to contribute to your life that's positive, even some negatives can turn into a positive. It's a beautiful thing, but maximize your human potential, make it count, and let's rock it out. Get the message out there. So I love you all in spirit, and have a great evening, and see you on the next call, which is Monday night. Then we have the Tuesday mastermind session, and then Wednesday again, and then Tracy will be going off to the Mayan Riviera, and we can just only sit there and envy her and her great experience there in the beautiful Mayans. So, but I look forward to that too. Maybe we can all get together at some point. I really want to build this. I don't say this in a lip service fashion. It's great to see you all here in video, and we hang here and we nod heads and we chat and we smell. We lay back and we move forward. But I hope one day that we can all unite in a live environment and give a big hug and a handshake and hang out and maybe have that cocktail on the side and talk about life and your experiences and your journeys and my journeys, and share notes and make it a non-threatening environment. And I'll tell you something, if you get an opportunity to do that with a great group of people like us and more people that'll be added to the group in the future, it's going to be a major breakthrough in your life, and you're going to look back and you're going to say, why couldn't I have had that earlier in my life? This is what it's all about. All we want to be loved, we want to feel needed, and we want to feel like our lives are important. And this environment is going to be a big stepping stone in providing an importance in your life, even outside of the monetary side of things. So just know that you're loved, you're cared about, and we really do appreciate you all being here. So with that, good night. Take care. All the best.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.